Welcome back. We have done a really fun afternoon, and I wanted to take this opportunity to speak with my friend Emme, who sat today for some headshots, and we had a really, really good time. I wanted to find out a little bit more about what your experience was like, but first of all, I'm really, really curious what was worrying you. Like what makes you feel uncomfortable about getting headshots? If you could be like specific about a couple things.
I think a lot of things really worry me. Not worry, but like I feel very anxious because I think like a lot of people, people get up in their heads, and like for me, I'm always very worried about how I look as opposed to concentrating on like the whole experience of it. So, and I think when you do that, you're just kind of, I don't know, you can do like weird things with your face because you're so out of touch with yourself. And so I think,
but that's so easy to do because you're not in control.
Yes.
Like, you're the one in front of the camera, and
Exactly.
I'm the one managing the lights and the camera and
being out of control.
everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have much of a say in things. You just have to sort of trust that this person is not going to make you look like
Exactly.
a weirdo.
Exactly.
At least in the bad sense of the word.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's like the fear of the result not being what you wanted, or
Yeah.
like how you expected it to be, or like you have this vision in your head and then the fear of it just not turning out, and then you're like, oh, I've wasted all this time, all this, you know, the day or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, not having that, I think that's always a worry.
I feel like with photo shoots too, it can go sideways really quickly. Like if something goes wrong and you feel like you don't have good communication, or you feel like you're not being heard, or you feel like
Yes.
it's not going in a good direction, it's so hard to kind of right that ship once it goes off the
Definitely.
rails, because you don't have the language for it, you don't necessarily know how to state what you want.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're not in, again, like you're not in charge, you're not in control of the situation, so you're just kind of like along for the ride a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And it's just kind of like, I think it's always scary to kind of like you have to have a relationship, I think, with, you know, the photographer and, you know, the person who's having a photograph taken, and if that isn't quite there, you're never going to get the best out of somebody. And I think that is also a big fear of, you know, anybody really, is like, I'm going to feel awkward, it's going to look silly, they're going to think badly of me, or that kind of like internal like fear
that dialogue
yes,
that
exactly.
just gets going in your brain.
Yeah.
For sure. Or like not knowing what to do in front of a camera.
Exactly.
Too,
well, that's definitely one of my biggest. You know, it's like you can look in front of a mirror as much as you can, but as soon as you get into that room, it's a totally different experience. And then you're on and you're performing, but it's like, I don't know. I think with still shots, it's so different to something moving, right? And you're like, I don't know, it's a scary thing. You think if you were used to being on camera when, you know, it's filming, you would be okay in a room where you're just taking
But
stills.
it's so different because as actors, like, we train to ignore the camera, and we train to be in the scene and to the dialogue and the actions and all that kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're staring down the barrel of this lens going, oh my God, I hope this is gonna look good. I hope I haven't wasted my money and my time and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I also feel like being an actor myself, it's so close to our hearts. We pour so much time and energy and love into our craft and into learning and into this whole thing, and then to have a picture of you that doesn't represent that, I just feel is like so,
Yes. Yeah.
oh, it's so disheartening.
Definitely. And I think it's like, you know, you see so many headshots and yeah, they can look really pretty and really nice and like very like photoshopped and perfect, but that doesn't really showcase who people are, you know. It's like, okay, just run-of-the-mill pictures, and like you kind of want to show yourself, like, you know, a headshot is like your first impression, right?
Yeah.
And you can't make a first impression twice. So there is a lot riding on these, you know. It's not just like you're going and having your picture taken. Like there is a lot riding on this kind of stuff, and it's like that makes the whole anxiety around the situation a lot worse, you know.
If you think about like the Vancouver market too, if there's a role in your category, a casting director might get like 2,000 submissions from different actors, and they're literally going to go through and scroll down, and their eye is just going to go across these thumbnails of the images,
Yeah.
And what is going to stick out? Color, presence, composition, like all those things. And I always think about that when I'm putting this together, so that you can have that impact on that little like tiny moment that you have an opportunity to get in the room with the right people.
Exactly, and it's just a few seconds, right? They'll just look through, and it's like if it doesn't catch their eye, then that's it. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you know that's your headshot is your ticket. In
Those marketing materials are so important. Yeah,
Definitely.
they are. So what, like, how was it today?
I
felt like we had
amazing.
fun.
Oh my god, it was so good. It was so unexpectedly good as well. I think because I was so not afraid, but like anxious about it. I was like, I don't know, you don't know what to expect. And so I think you build up that anxiety, and when I came here, I was very much like stiff and like not really knowing what I was doing. And then by the end of it, it was just so much fun. It was like you had these images that actually felt like they looked like me, as opposed to just like some pretty headshots that are like, you know, the same as everybody else's. It was awesome.
Oh, I had a really good time.
It was
too.
so
I had a
good.
really legit
It
good
was
time
it
too.
was really, yeah, I
For
loved
me,
it.
that's like the most important part. The most important part, like me coming from an actor background and from being in front of the camera, like I spent all of this time and energy and money investing in the equipment and the education and stuff like that, so that I could nail the technical stuff. Like I've got the lighting dialed in and all the photography technical skills, because for me it's so much about the character and having like the soul in the body and having that person shine out through the headshot. Like if you don't have the expression, if you don't have the aliveness in the eyes, it doesn't matter. Like you can have
So
the
true.
perfect hair and the perfect lighting and all that kind of stuff, but if that impact of the soul and like the passion and the fire isn't in the face, it doesn't matter.
It's so very true. And I think that is really the biggest difference between today and like previous times that I've had headshots done. Is like previous times, like yes, the directives like head down, tilt this way, do this with your arms, whatever. But with you, it was like getting into your body and getting into the character and having like a fire behind your eyes and like actually understanding, you know, what you're taking a photo of, as opposed to it just looking really nice and like just tilting your head and like making you look pretty. You know, it felt real and like authentic, and that's something that I've never had before.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very, very glad.
I'm very
I had
glad
a really
too.
good time.